Hello everyone, I'm Sean.
This is whom?
And we are the Courageour Frights, back once again for another movie review.
Yes.
So this time we're covering the latest VHS installment, VHS Halloween.
Yes.
So if you're not familiar with the VHS franchise, series, whatever you want to call it, they're horror anthologies that are now on Shudder. Not sure when they started, but there's 8 of them now. This is the most recent, the 8th one, I think just came out a couple days ago.
Yeah.
And as the name suggests, this one is Halloween themed. So last one they did was sci-fi themed.
Yeah, that was Beyond.
Yeah, VHS Beyond. So now this one is VHS Halloween. So one thing that's tying these together is obviously a Halloween theme or alleged Halloween theme. Mm-hmm. Second thing ties them together is they're all gore fest this time.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of gore in a lot of these.
It's like Terrifier 3 kicked the door open for what you could get away with in a movie, I guess. So we're going to start, I guess, with the first segment, which is Coochie Coochie Coo.
Yes.
Directed and written by Anna Zlokovic. So what is Coochie Coochie Coo about?
Yes. So I think Coochie Coochie Coo, doesn't it start off with like these two girls? They're kind of, I guess they're about to graduate college or something, or maybe college.
Yeah,
they're
college
like, this is
or
their
high school,
first, this is last Halloween before like adulthood.
Yeah, it could be high school.
High school or college or whatever. So they're going around being nuisances.
That's the other theme.
Going to people's houses.
The other theme between all these, everyone's a nuisance streamer.
Yeah. Going to like being a nuisance at people's houses and like getting candy and stuff like that. And then they actually steal candy from a kid, which is not okay, I guess.
Yeah.
You don't want to be stealing candy from kids. But, so they're sitting in like a park at one point, and they're like, oh, what's that house? Which is kind of, it's like pulsating. The windows and stuff are pulsating, so it looks pretty creepy. So like, we need to go to that house. This would be like our last house or something like that.
Yeah. It also, the house just kind of appeared.
Yeah, it kind of appears. And they also talked about like if you ever heard someone talk about like one of the trick-or-treaters got like abducted.
Yeah, some girl that was dressed as a cheerleader like vanished or something the year before or something.
So obviously they go to the house, they knock on the door, and then it opens up, and then some lady's like, coochie coochie coo, and puts her arm out, but you don't really see the person, so it's kind of like weird looking. But the lady's like, this is kind of weird. The one character is like, I don't want to do this because this is really creepy or whatever. But the other lady's like, come on, let's do it. So they go into the house, and then tomfoolery occurs at that point.
Yes, the weird mommy monster.
Yeah.
And everybody's a baby.
Yeah, everyone's a baby, and then you find out, like, the mommy monster apparently killed herself at one point while pregnant, and it kind of set her free, but she, like, picks people every so many years. I don't know if it was, like, so many years, but it was kind of, like, so many times, and at that point where they become pretty much babies. Like, they kind of go backwards in time, I guess.
Yeah, so it almost had a barbarian feel to it. It was a weird segment.
Yeah, so you kind of find like the of course you see the cheerleader in there, and then you see all these like nasty machines where like milk's being force fed into people.
Yeah. And
like a weird baby guy in a diaper.
Yeah, it's pretty bizarre.
It's really strange. And
most of these are bizarre.
Everyone looks like JD Vance. The meme JD Vance.
Everybody turns into meme JD Vance.
Yeah, it's kind of a...
And then that's the end of it. So
yeah, it's pretty creepy. Like, it has a very creepy atmosphere to it, but...
Yeah.
It's kind of your stock creature type of horror, I guess you can say.
Yeah, because the thing's like a weird monster with multiple breasts.
Yeah, that she just like leaks milk everywhere.
Yeah.
Like literally like leaking milk on the floor and stuff.
Beautiful imagery.
Yeah. It does kind of look nasty. And then you probably, just from the setup, you could probably guess what happens.
Yeah.
Even though the one lady just kind of gives up. That's the only thing. At the very end, the one girl's like, let's get out of here. But the one girl gets her ribs crushed in.
Yeah.
And then she gets taken away. Then she just kind of like is like lost the will to live, I guess. I don't know what happened. She just like went over there.
That's another theme.
Yeah.
the candy one, somebody just randomly loses the will to live.
Yeah, they just kind of accept their fate. They turn to a baby.
Yes.
Or a fetus or whatever.
I'm now Baby Vance.
Yeah, trying to baby Vance.
So that's that segment. The next segment is Utsupra sic infra, which is Latin for as above, so below. And this is directed by Paco Plaza, who previously directed Rec, which is the found footage Spanish zombie movie, which I really like. Especially the second one. I love Rec too, but the first one I like as well. So this segment is basically about a person who there was a violent massacre during Halloween, and this guy ended up in like police custody or something, but they can't figure out what ties him to the crime. He like basically confesses to the murders, but they're like, there's no evidence that you were actually the perpetrator. So they all get together, like this whole police investigation team, including like the attorney and like all this other kind of stuff, get together and they say, okay, you got to take us back to the scene of the crime and run us through exactly what happened. They get to this weird building, and then there's like almost like an empty room with a black phone in the middle of the room, but there's all these hieroglyphs and weird stuff on the walls. And upside down, there's that Latin phrase. And so he says it like 3 times, and the phone rings, and you find out in the past that's exactly what happened. He picked up the phone before, and then he started convulsing, and then everybody like flew up onto the ceiling, and then you don't know what happened. So here the same thing happens. Somebody else answers the phone, but then it goes through him again, and he starts doing into the convulsing. He starts spitting up all these eyeballs.
Yeah, that was a pretty good effect. I didn't like that.
Yeah, because all the victims were found without their eyes for whatever reason. I guess a window to the soul or whatever. It's obviously some demonic presence.
Yeah.
And they all get thrown up onto the ceiling. And then he walks through the door, and he ends up walking onto the ceiling, opens up another door, now he's on the ceiling. And he basically just walks around the room, plucking everybody's eyeballs out. And then that's pretty much the segment. Yeah. So it continued. So, I mean, he did what they said. He went through the exact scene of the crime and repeated what happened.
Yeah, pretty much.
So now there's just more victims.
Yes.
And I guess he eats the eyeballs because he spits them up later.
Probably, I guess. Like, it was like everyone else is like not taking the eyeballs quickly, and then it takes the one person's close the camera, just takes
forever. Yeah,
she's like ripping. It's kind of visceral, but like scooping them eyeballs out.
Scooping eyeballs. So yeah, that is that segment.
Yes.
Which that one wasn't too bad.
Yeah, that wasn't too bad.
Actually, none of these are awful.
Yeah, none of these are bad. Like none of these are bad.
I don't know if any of them are actually spectacular, but none of them are awful. I feel like this whole VHS segment was kind of mediocre, but it wasn't awful. Which comes to the next one.
It's called Fun Size.
Fun Size.
Written and directed by Casper Kelly, which I think he did a lot of stuff with like Adult Swim.
Yeah, I love like the live action stuff.
Yeah, live action stuff, so you could probably guess it kind of has a little bit of a dark humor type.
Yeah, this one's the most like a comedy.
Yeah, so again, it's about there's adults that are, I guess, doing trick-or-treating again. So they're going to these houses. It kind of shows that one of them's like another nuisance streamer. Like it's like all nuisance streamers here. But they're basically the one guy's like, oh, I'm a found footage director or something. Is like these two people, and they're like apparently they just got proposed. Like the one guy proposed to his girlfriend, and they were going to get married or something like that.
Yeah. And
then you have another like couple where it's like the boyfriend and the girlfriend. So they're doing their trick-or-treating thing, and they go over to this one house, which has a bucket out in the middle of like their deck or something like that says "Take one only." So it's like, oh, let me eat this candy, which is one of them looks like a dick, and he just like eats it like very seductively. I guess
it's full of white cream.
Yeah, white cream. And they're like, I don't know, this tastes pretty good. I wonder where this came from. And they're trying to figure out what it is. So they take a bunch of other candy because they're like, screw that sign. Who cares? And then it grabs his arm and it pulls him into the actual...
That was actually a cool effect.
Yeah. Because he's like, what? How are you doing this? Like, how's this doing that? Because I can't get out. Because like grabbing him and he's like getting pulled into like this candy bowl.
Yeah, they keep showing underneath to show that there's nobody under it.
It's it's a really good effect. And then you get all
what's not a good effect is when the bowl goes flying out after them.
Yeah, there's a couple times where they're running away and it just kind of flies to them and it just looks pretty... It kind of looks
stupid.
Yeah, it does look very goofy. So when they get pulled into the... into like this factory, and they're like, and then they go like, oh, there's a bowl over there. That must be the way to get out. But it says take one only. And then another light comes on and a Fortnite guy shows up. He's a guy that's like in a suit with like a weird gumball head. I don't know. It's kind of like I don't know what.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, and he keeps saying "take one only" or something. I forgot what he says. Something he says. I think that's what he says. I don't know what he says.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But the thing's funny is like I think only the one guy took multiple.
Yeah, only one guy. It even says like it was like there's only one guy that did it. We didn't do that. But apparently it's its own thing.
Yeah.
But so of course they run into the factory, and then the one guy gets like captured by this creature or whatever, and then he gets strapped onto a conveyor belt that has like a fun-sized conveyor belt. After finding a key, which is trying to like get, they found an exit sign that says this is the way out, this is the key to get it, so he pulls him into this conveyor belt. And they can't get the conveyor belt off, so of course he goes into the conveyor belt and turns into fun-sized pieces of himself, like getting like chocolate and stuff.
Buzzsaws pieces of them. And then
which that was pretty gruesome, because it showed inside, like, it shows inside of that little like machine or whatever. It's like getting cut in half and everything.
Yeah.
And then he gets his dick cut with his balls. It's like... It's pretty graphic, I guess, in that way, but in a goofy way.
Yeah, that's the thing. This particular one is more cartoonish.
Yeah. But one guy did find an axe at one point, so he tries to cut the gumball guy's arm off, but he's like a weird monster.
Back. Yeah.
That just shoots out candy out of his arms. So they get the key. The one girl gets this weird effect where there's like two of them. There's like the main guy and then like his friend or something. I don't know, like a shorter guy.
Oh, the frowny.
Yeah, the frowny face guy. And he gets the other girl, but then they put a candy stick.
They stick like a tube up her ass.
Up her ass, and with like a bunch of candy, and her face flies. Like her front of her face just comes off.
That was stupid.
And then it just keeps shooting candy out, but it was like, man, that didn't look good at all. At least I didn't think it looked.
That looked stupid. I thought she was gonna like cough up a bunch of bloody candy or something, but it was like her whole front of her face popped off.
Or just like explode or something.
Yeah.
That would have been. I thought that would have been a little bit better.
It looked real dumb.
But then she just runs to the conveyor belt, and then she turns into bite-sized candy.
She wanted to jump on the conveyor belt like right away.
So she was. She lost the will to live there.
Yeah.
So like I said, they go into the room, but when they open the door that goes to the exit, it's like barred off, and it says "take one only." Mm-hmm. They're like, "Oh, there's a air vent. Let's go into the air vent." And I'm thinking to myself, as like, if this is this is like a weird factory, why would you go in the air vent? It's either the guy's going to be in there, or it's a death trap.
Yeah, it's a death trap.
And of course,
a conveyor belt.
It's a conveyor belt that's supposed to take you to another place. But I guess it's like another comedic part, and there's like, the one guy's like, sorry I couldn't get married to you. Because the girl was having like reservations about actually getting married. She doesn't want to
actually get married to him, yeah.
So he's like, but then they go through like the matrimony, like, the vows or whatever, and he's like, no, I don't want to get married to you, and then he just dies. So it's supposed to be like a funny part of it, and then she kicks her way out of the actual the factory or whatever. So she's outside, but the Fortnite guy is out there and just grabs her arms or something and blows her head, like just basically hits her head apart. Yeah, and that's the end of this segment, which I don't know. It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad, but it definitely wasn't very. It was a little bit more comedic for sure. That's probably where they were going with
which most of these VHS segments, or just horror anthologies in general, always kind of jump between serious and comedic.
Yeah, which a lot of these do. And that one for sure was more comedic.
Yeah. So the next one I think is the most divisive one of them all.
Yeah,
Kid
that
Print.
one.
Yeah, so this is directed and written by Alex Ross Perry. This is about a guy who runs an electronics store, which creates like it's like a video ID service or something that's supposed to help identify and save kids that go missing or something like that, been kidnapped or something. But it turns out, without getting into too much detail or whatever, I guess it turns out that some of the people working there are actually the ones kidnapping the kids.
Yeah.
And they're like torturing them in horrifying ways in the back room or something.
It's very realistic.
Yeah, this one's more torture porn than anything else.
There's a lot of people that was watching. I guess I was reading. I don't know if we were reading Reddit about that. And a lot of people were like, I don't know if I like that one because that was like more real life.
Right, and that always becomes an issue when you do that sort of thing. There's always a group of people that are vocally against it, which I mean makes sense. Some people want to see more entertainment from their horror as opposed to real life stuff.
a guy that's just taking people and just killing them.
Just torturing them in the back room,
and then filming it while doing it. And it's kind of like, man. And there's a couple scenes where he just shows them like actually talking to kids and stuff, and he's like, "You want to go to my place and play Super Nintendo?"
Right, and he's
like, man.
he's like pretty.
He's a creepy guy. And
pretty creepy.
And he kind of frames him at the end, and he's like,
yeah.
And he continues doing it because he framed the other guy.
The one guy that wasn't involved with it gets framed and killed.
Because like, oh, I found him. I found the kid. He was already dead with the other guy.
Yeah.
It's like, man, that is really... It definitely was more visceral compared to the other ones.
Yeah. And then the last of the actual segments is Home Haunt. This is directed and written by Micheline Pitt-Norman and R.H. Norman. This is probably my favorite segment.
Yeah, personally. I agree. I do like this one the best.
Yeah, this one's almost like a creep show or something like that because it's basically about this dad, whole family, I guess, his dad and wife and their kid, who every year get really involved in Halloween. He's like one of those guys that has the big like haunted house in the backyard and invites everybody in the neighborhood over and stuff. And he starts having problems as his son Zach grows up. He starts to become like a bitter teenager, goes through that phase, angsty phase.
I don't have a girlfriend because I'm always Igor or whatever.
And he like resents his dad or whatever. So his dad in desperation goes to this like flea or secondhand shop, antique store or whatever, trying to reconnect with his son or something. Figures it's probably going to be like the last time he gets to do this or something. And he finds this weird record in the back.
He steals it.
He steals it, which the son calls him out on. And so he has the whole setup he has every year, invites everybody in the neighborhood over. The funniest part of this whole thing is that one of the neighbors is this one guy that says he only comes over to tell him that his whole setup looks like shit.
Yeah.
And that's played by Rick Baker, who's like one of the greatest makeup effects artists in the industry. I mean, he worked on the original Star Wars and King Kong and all this other shit. Gremlins 2 and American Werewolf in London and like all these ones that are considered like, you know, science fiction or special effects extravaganzas. Some of the finest effects work ever put on camera, and he's just randomly in this VHS segment telling this guy his setup looks like shit. And he plays the dad, Keith, plays the record, and it's kind of like listening to the Necronomicon or something, and it causes everything to come to life and become like murderous monsters and pretty much kills everybody in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
They end up with a witch at the end that gets a hold of the camera, and then the final moments is flying around town, like decapitating people. And impales a kid on her broom and flies off.
That's a lot of kid deaths in this thing.
Yeah, there's a ton.
It's like everyone's just dying. All these kids are just dying in here.
Again, Terrifier 3 kicked that door open, I guess.
Now every horror movie has to have kid deaths in it.
And really gruesome practical effects. I think almost everything was practical this time around.
Yeah. I think the only part that wasn't practical was when the record got on fire, and it was obviously like a fake explosion thing. But, but everything else was pretty practical, because people were like getting their guts cutting out, and just like, and just grabbing it and just like,
Yeah, it was kind of like an indie film from the 80s or something. Like Evil Dead or something like that. So then the frame narrative, the last thing we had talked about, so this is like the story that keeps showing up between each segment.
Yeah.
This is Diet Phantasma, which is directed and written by Bryan M. Ferguson. And this is set in the 1980s. It's like a focus group or something from a group called the Octagon Corporation.
Yeah.
And they're basically creating this new soda product, Diet Phantasma. And they have a bunch of test subjects, and every test subject that drinks it like dies horribly.
Yeah, because it's like they're getting an extraction of like
actual ghosts or something.
Actual ghost extract, and putting it into this drink.
It's like ectoplasm or something. And it's very similar to kind of like Halloween 3 Season of the Witch with the Shamrock Corporation, Shamrock.
Yeah, they even have like a little thing in the middle where it's like the mid-credit scene where it's just like...
Well, the mid-credit scene is the commercial for it, which is like the Silver Shamrock thing. And then it's got a lot of like the stuff.
Yeah.
Where it's the product placement, corporate America type thing. Like that was a pretty interesting segment. It was definitely comedic. The guy that's running it doesn't give a shit about anything. People are dying horribly, and he's just like, get on with it.
Yeah, get on with it, because it's like all the signs are checked out. It's the one guy, the main scientist guy, like, screw it.
Mm. So they finally find a girl that gets possessed by it or something.
Yeah,
it seems like it's like a creepy girl that's kind of a bit like the girl in Late Night with the Devil or something like that. And she eventually gets possessed and becomes like a vessel for it or something like that.
Because like, oh, did you drink it? Not dead compared to everyone else?
Yeah. So then she's advertising, and it's like, it's scary how good it tastes, or something like that. And that's pretty much VHS Halloween. Nothing too fantastic, but certainly could do worse.
I think this one's kind of like middle of the pack compared to like all the other ones.
Yeah, there was some stuff in the previous one that was good, but the previous one also had a lot of wonky CG effects. Yeah. And this really doesn't. So that's a plus, at least for me. Yeah. But
it's definitely not the worst, because Viral's for sure the worst one.
Yeah.
But even Viral didn't have... Not every one of them were bad, though.
No, I feel like Viral's when Shudder took over or something.
I think Shudder took over after Viral. Yeah. Because the way the time gap was 2012 was the first one. Yeah. And they did the 3. So 2012, 2013, 2014. So they did 3 in a row every year. And then there was a huge gap for almost... At 2014 to 2021, so almost like a 6-year gap.
Yeah, and that must be when Shudder acquired it.
Shudder took it over, because I think it was because the first 3 ones had like, was it Radio whatever?
Radio Silence did one, I think.
Yeah, Radio Silence. It had Adam Wingard was.
Yeah, Adam Wingard worked on a number of them. Ty West did one at some point. One.
He was in the very first one.
Scott Derrickson did one, I think.
Yeah, I think he did it on 85.
Okay, so that was a Shudder one.
Yeah, Shudder one. So they went to Shudder one, which it seems like they always have like one like major person. Yeah. Because still, in last one they had Kate Siegel, which was her directorial debut, and also Mike Flanagan. They were both like kind of worked together. Right. I guess. It's quoted in the website.
I think he wrote or something for it. And each one they have something. There's usually a Spanish one. Spanish language segment. Sometimes there's a lot of Indonesian ones.
Yeah, Indonesian ones, like Indonesian Spanish.
They had an Indian one, I think, in the last one.
Yeah, there was an Indian one in the last one because it was like a Bollywood one.
Yeah, it was like a robot or something, demon robot or something. Yeah. So anyway, I would agree that this one's kind of middle of the road as far as VHSs go, but you could certainly do worse. They'll probably do another one next year. I'm sure this will do well enough. Yeah. They've been running it on a lot of like film festivals and stuff leading up to this.
Yeah, like I said, this one, I always enjoy the VHS series, not just because of I guess not really, I like it because of the setup, because it's short stories, and you kind of like, okay, this is how you, even if you're trying to learn, like I think we've said this before in one of our other ones, but if you're trying to like learn how to do video or whatever, like these found footage, it's always good to at least watch these, because these are pretty good examples of found footage.
And they're short, they're kind of manageable. They're all
watch a full movie.
10, 20 minutes long, something like that.
And there was like a little article I was reading earlier about some of the ideas, and it's like, oh, that's kind of interesting. I could see where they were coming from.
And they all focus on a central idea or something, and there's usually like some set piece that they're building up to or something like that, or at least a plot point they're trying to do. Or a lot of them try to do some interesting thing with the camera, or try to do the whole thing in one take or something like that. It's basically like an experiment for the people that make it.
Because there was one that was like a zombie one where the guy was like, he turned into a zombie and you follow. Basically, he has like one of those like those cameras.
Helmet cam.
Helmet cam things that basically him as a zombie running around. It's like, okay, that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, they usually have some interesting aspect to it somewhere. Yeah. So, I think that's going to do it for our review of VHS Halloween. You can check this out on Shudder if you have that. It's a streaming service in the U.S. I'm not sure exactly how available Shudder is anymore. I think it's wider than it was a few years ago, but I think it's still pretty limited. Yeah. So, if you liked the video, give us a thumbs up. Consider subscribing for more like this in the future, and you too could feel a strong welling within. See ya.